The church was silent. Everyone in the hall expected a quiet, beautiful ceremony. Officers stood tall, families smiled, and a little girl in a wheelchair sat near the front waiting quietly beside her mother, small, calm, almost invisible in the crowd. But the peace shattered in an instant. The moment Rex, a decorated police dog, saw the little girl in the wheelchair, his entire demeanor changed. He suddenly lunged toward her, growling, barking, teeth bared. He tore forward with explosive urgency, barking so fiercely that chairs rattled. His handler struggled to hold him back. People screamed. Sophie's mother threw her arms around her daughter, shielding her as officers rushed in. Gasps erupted. Officers panicked. Her mother screamed, "Control your dog." The decorated canine dragged his handler across the floor, refusing to back down as his frantic barks echoed through the ceremony hall. But the girl Sophie didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stared back at Rex, eyes wide, lips trembling, not in fear, but confusion. No one understood why a perfectly trained canine would act this way, why he wouldn't stop, why he seemed so desperate. Then she whispered, barely audible, her voice trembling, "Why? Why does he sound like Shadow? Shadow." No one understood what she meant. No one understood why she said it. No one understood why the dog reacted. But when the truth finally surfaced, it broke everyone. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The church was filled with quiet pride, the kind that came from polished uniforms, gleaming badges, and families dressed in their finest clothes. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting warm golden beams across rows of officers seated in silence. Today was meant to honor courage, sacrifice, and the families who stood behind every badge. In the front row sat 6-year-old Sophie, her tiny hands folded neatly in her lap as she rested in her wheelchair. Her white dress shimmered softly, the satin bow in her curled hair perfectly tied. She looked small, delicate, yet hopeful. Her mother kept a gentle hand on her shoulder, whispering encouraging words, but behind them, a sudden growl shattered the stillness. Rex, one of the department's most disciplined German shepherds, had risen sharply to his feet, muscles tense, eyes locked onto Sophie. Before anyone could react, he lunged forward with a fierce, urgent bark that echoed through the hall. Gasps filled the room. Officers jumped to their feet. Sophie's mother pulled her close. Even Sophie's breath caught as she stared at the dog, her lips parting in shock. Mark, Rex's handler, yanked the leash, stunned. Rex had never behaved like this. Not once. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The ceremony dissolved into chaos. Within seconds, several officers rushed toward Rex, forming a tense barrier between the canine and the trembling little girl in the wheelchair. Sophie's mother held her tightly, shielding her as if danger were inches away. Whispers spread like wildfire through the rows of uniforms. Did the girl provoke him? Something must have set the dog off. That's a police canine. He doesn't react without a reason. Sophie's father's former colleagues exchanged uneasy glances. No one dared move too close, but Rex didn't back down. He barked again, loud, insistent, desperate, straining against Mark's grip with all his strength. His eyes never left Sophie, not for a second. This wasn't aggression. It was urgency. Sophie didn't do anything. Her mother cried, tears forming. Please stop blaming her. Officers hesitated. Rex's behavior made no sense. Mark tightened the leash and commanded, Rex, heel. But Rex refused, growling low, tugging forward as if something inside him was pulling him toward the little girl. Then Sophie's voice broke through the noise, quiet, shaky, heart-wrenching. I know that bark. Her mother froze. Sweetheart, what are you talking about? Sophie's chin trembled. That bark sounds like Shadow. Mark felt his stomach drop. Everything suddenly shifted. The room fell strangely quiet after Sophie's trembling words. Even Rex paused, his growl softening into a low, aching whine as if her voice alone reached something deep inside him. Mark's grip loosened just slightly. Shadow, he repeated under his breath. That's impossible. Sophie swallowed hard, her small hands gripping the wheels of her chair. Shadow was my daddy's canine partner, she whispered. He never barked like other dogs. He had this special sound. Tears welled in her eyes. I heard it every night when Dad came home. Officers nearby exchanged startled looks. Sophie's mother shook her head firmly. Sweetheart, Shadow died in the accident. You know that. But her voice wavered, like even she wasn't completely certain. No, Sophie said softly. Shadow disappeared. They never found him. Her gaze drifted back to Rex, who now lay low to the ground, ears pinned, whining as if begging her to understand. Mark felt a chill crawl up his spine. Rex had been found months ago injured, starving, wandering near the edge of the crash site. No tags, no microchip, no explanation. He never reacted to strangers. Never acted out, never connected with anyone. Until now. When Sophie whispered, Shadow, Rex let out a broken, trembling howl. Every officer froze. Recognition was no longer a question. It was a certainty. Just as the room settled into stunned silence, Sophie's breath hitched. Her small hand flew to her chest. Her face tightened, first in confusion, then in pain. Mom, she whispered weakly. Her mother immediately knelt beside her wheelchair. What's wrong? Sweetheart, talk to me. Before Sophie could answer, Rex exploded into frantic barking again, louder, sharper, faster than before. But this time, his focus wasn't her face. It was her chest. He reared forward, barking in quick, urgent bursts, pacing in tight circles like he was tracking something invisible. Mark froze. He had seen this behavior once, years ago, when Rex alerted to a man having a heart episode before he even collapsed. Sophie? Her mother cried. Please look at me. Sophie's lips trembled as she gasped, her breathing suddenly shallow. Her head slumped slightly to the side. Rex barked harder, desperate, pawing the floor as if trying to force anyone to understand he wasn't attacking. He was warning. Call IMS. An officer shouted, panic rising through the room. 2 paramedics rushed from the hallway, dropping to their knees beside the little girl. Rex refused to move, hovering protectively inches away, growling at anyone who startled her. Mark pulled him back gently. Easy, buddy. Easy. I know. I see it. Sophie's eyes fluttered. Something inside her was failing, and Rex had sensed it before anyone else. The paramedics worked fast, their voices sharp and clipped as they assessed Sophie. One checked her pulse, another her breathing. Her skin was pale, her chest rising unevenly. "She's tachycardic," one medic muttered. "Irregular rhythm. We need to stabilize her now." Her mother clutched her hand, tears streaming. "She was fine this morning." "She was fine." "No," the medic corrected softly, urgency in his tone. "She wasn't. This episode didn't start here. It's been building." Rex whimpered, inching closer, his nose pressed near Sophie's heart as if he could feel every irregular beat vibrating through her fragile body. Mark swallowed hard. "Rex knew. Before any of us." The medic looked up, stunned. "This dog alerted you?" Mark nodded slowly, the truth settling over him like a heavy weight. He wasn't attacking her. He was trying to save her. As paramedics prepared the stretcher, Sophie's mother suddenly looked at Mark. Really looked at him for the first time since the chaos began. "You said Rex was a rescue," she whispered. "Found months ago." "Where exactly?" Mark hesitated. The room quieted. "He was discovered near the crash site," he finally said. "The one where your husband didn't make it." Rex stayed there for days. Wouldn't leave the wreckage. He was injured, dehydrated, barely alive when they brought him in. Sophie's mother covered her mouth with shaking fingers, and Sophie, weak but conscious, whispered through shallow breaths, "Shadow, you came back." At her voice, Rex lowered his head into her lap, letting out a soft, broken whine, the kind only a dog who remembers could make. The truth hit everyone at once. He wasn't just a police dog. He was family. The paramedics rushed Sophie toward the waiting ambulance. Its back doors opened like a lifeline. Rex trotted beside the stretcher, his body tense, refusing to let her out of his sight. When they lifted her inside, Rex barked in protest, panicked, determined. "Let him ride with her," Sophie's mother said through tears. "Please, he won't leave anyway." The medic hesitated only a moment before nodding. Rex jumped into the ambulance and lay beside Sophie, resting his head gently on her arm as the doors slammed shut. The ride was a blur of sirens and flashing lights. Sophie drifted in and out, her fingers curled weakly against Rex's fur. Every time her breathing faltered, Rex nudged her hand, whining softly as if urging her to stay awake. Hours later, Mark waited anxiously in the hospital corridor. Then the doctor approached, removing his gloves with a tired but relieved sigh. "She's stable," he said. "You got her here just in time, that dog. He saved her." Sophie's mother broke down completely, covering her face as gratitude overwhelmed her. When the nurse finally allowed visitors, Rex trotted inside the room, tail low, eyes fixed on the little girl resting in the hospital bed. Sophie smiled weakly. "Shadow, you remembered me." Rex pressed his head into her chest, whining with relief. A week later, the ceremony resumed. This time, Sophie was wheeled onto the stage, healthier, color back in her cheeks. Rex sat proudly beside her. The chief stepped forward. "For loyalty beyond duty,